The king's back. 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 The king's back.
Yeah. What's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to my live stream. I am the actual King Smith, and this is my daily morning vlog where I come on and talk about whatever the funk I want to talk about. Today, I'm going to ask a question that I was curious about. I was having a conversation with somebody politicking, which is funny because of the title that we're going to be talking about today, or the subject that we're going to be talking about today. But when we look at the headlines that we're given, social media, and conversations that we're having with family and friends, I'm just curious. How do we get to where we're at in politics today? Because let's be honest, politics today feels more divisive, more corrosive, and just more personal than ever. We don't just disagree with people anymore. It feels like we have to hate them just because they're on the other side of things. And I don't get that. I don't understand that. It's gotten to a point to where you can't even have a Thanksgiving dinner without politics showing up and somebody ready to flip the table. I've been in conversations like that to where people show up and you go, let's not talk about politics today. Why can't we do that? Why can't we have a conversation about the happenings of things that's going on that directly impact your life when it comes to policy and things without somebody getting angry, without somebody feeling left out? I don't think that this stuff happened overnight. I think that as time goes on, trust in our institutions has eroded. Scandals like Watergate, war sold to us under false pretenses, and even what's the YouTube appropriate word? The beer virus, if you know what I'm talking about, left people skeptical about anything that our government says. Add to that the 24/7 media machine that profits off of outrage, right? Those clickbait headlines get the most views. Stories about negative things and race, that's the stuff that gets views. And the algorithms that we're exposed to because of our cookies feed us exactly what makes us divisive, what keeps people angry. Anytime anything goes wrong, every mistake looks like it could be the end of the world. And then there's good old money. The feeling that the system really only works for the wealthy, right? While the regular folks keep falling further and further behind. And when people feel abandoned, they stop believing that anybody that's in power has their back. And that's where a lot of people get mad and where the anger comes from. So I want to bring in three pieces today and then ask y'all a question and see what we can kind of derive from this. And let me know if these three pieces are why or if they're a symptom, right? We're going to talk about the eroding pillars of trust in our government and leadership, how I think that media and technology has turned every failure into a headline and every headline into a battle. And a little bit about how economic inequality and the sense of being left behind has made politics more personal than ever. But I have a different twist on that, or a different thought than most people might think. Okay. So let's get to the first one here. Let's see if we have any comments before I go into the first topic here. All right. Nope, no comments. So let's bring up the first topic here. The eroding pillars of trust. Think about this. In the 1950s and the 1960s, our trusted leaders were trusted by default. If you've ever heard an Eisenhower speech or a Kennedy speech, they could go up on stage and rally people with their words. Also, really before the 2000s, the your voice was only really amplified by certain media types or radio. So people couldn't just sit down, go to their phone, and immediately hear a speech that somebody gave. When these people talk and our elected people spoke, our government and the people that was in our government believed that the people would keep them safe and prosperous. Now, fast forward to the 20th century. The Vietnam War had revealed that the government wasn't always truthful. The Watergate scandal proved that corruption reached even the highest levels. You had events and things like the Tuskegee experiments that was telling people one thing but doing different things to other people, and that came from the government. As these things became public and information became common, these events helped shatter the image of what people would consider honest leadership. Think about this. The 2008 financial crisis had banks bailed out while millions of ordinary people lost their homes. And that bailout came from the government. Some people say, well, if you understand the economy, then you'd have to help the banks stay afloat because they're the ones that, lend and do all of this and that. And no, 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 no. The people are what helps keep America going the way that it is, not the banks. That's the way I look at it anyway. I could be wrong. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. When we had the beer virus in the late 2019 to the early 2020s, it's crazy how we had mandates of you have to wear masks, there's lockdowns, you got to take these vaccines and things like that. To where we're at now, 5 years later in 2025, there's is there definitive proof that the vaccines worked? Is there definitive proof that wearing a mask help keep you safe and keep others safe? The change in how we had a lot of remote work in that time period for about 2 years, to where now we're back in face-to-face person, and the same government that was encouraging the remote work is backing off that completely, going, it's not as productive. It's like, wait, what? People were doing the work then. So what's different? Now, I know when I said the same government, so people are going to say, well, King, that was a different administration. It's still the same people in charge. And that's what make people go, I don't know if we can trust these people because of what's going on. You have all of these scandals. It seems like some stuff is self-serving when certain people get in office. So why should I trust them? Why should I trust them? Tell me if I'm thinking about this the wrong way. Let's look at how the media and the 24/7 news cycle impact that trust as well. Social media and nonstop coverage sometimes amplifies our political failings. When you think about it, back in the day, you only had 3 evening news anchors, and there was at least a sense of shared truth. So while disagreements existed, people saw the same headlines. Now you can get access to news any second that you want to. Networks compete for the ratings, social media competes for the clicks, and the loudest, most extreme voices get the spotlight. And it seems as though certain people are controlling what that narrative is as well. What do I mean by that? Think about this. If you're watching news on cable, the same presidential debate will be declared a win by one news channel and a disaster by another. Same event, two different realities. Same event, two different headlines. If you look at things on social media, a politician can have a 10-second snafu that can trend worldwide, and that can overshadow years of work. If you go on X, X is the political slip up of all social media. If you do something and it lands on X, good luck being able to recover from it. Also, you have a lot of misinformation that tends to land on social media as well, and people have a difficult time being able to discern what's real and what's not. Think about this. I don't know if y'all heard of Pizzagate and the way people talked about that. It was a conspiracy theory in online forums that got so much attention and so much traction that somebody showed up at a pizza shop with a handgun. Look it up. Look it up. And it came from uh what was it? It wasn't the 2020 election cycle. It was the 2016 election cycle that was falsely claiming that the New York City Police Department had discovered a young ring that was linked to members from a Democratic Party while going through Anthony Weiner's emails. Every time I always giggle anytime I think of his last name. But that scandal happened from New York, linked to a politician that somebody put out there on different posts. I want to say it was Reddit, and then it grew. It just grew to this uncontrollable thing. There was I thought I saw a comment. That's why I paused. It seems like the media will take and magnify every failure, whether it's real or perceived, until it feels like corruption and chaos everywhere. And finally, the third area to bring up and highlight here is how economic inequality can make people feel left behind. I gotta adjust my seat. Jay said I was about to write a comment. Yo, what up, Jay? Checking in from Germany. I appreciate you tuning in, my man. Let me know what you think, boss. Let me know what you think. It's no secret that if you take a look at things over the last 50 years, I'll probably go back to the 70s, that the middle class has mostly stayed flat. And the wealth at the top 1% has skyrocketed. People want to talk about the American dream like the American dream still exists. And I think that it's morphed a bit. I think that opportunities can be there for people, opportunities that are better than some other places around the world. And you have to travel to know that. I've traveled to over 20 something countries, just came back from Japan about 2 months ago. And you have to travel around the world to see how wealth is distributed and what that wealth does for people in the places that you're going to. The money that I make here in the US puts me in a decent category. I'm above the average earner in the US. But if I take my earnings and what I make here and go to Malaysia, somewhere in Southeast Asia, Mexico, I can name a couple of different countries and places that I've been. Oh, I'm living like a king. I'm doing good. I would be considered upper middle class easily in some of these places. But what does that wealth do in politics? I think that that wealth kind of helps build a divide, because the people that don't have feels like when policies change and things happen in government, that it's not for them. I disagree with that a little bit. I think that that's how the sentiment feels for people, but also I think that a good bit of those that complain are lazy, and that sometimes, and this is where I'm going to lose people, economic inequality isn't because of policy, it's because of your lack of hard work. Going back to the media thing, Jason said, maybe you feel my mind thinking and your topic is on point. It's crazy how the media, even here is Germany, is talking about the South Carolina stabbing. Hey, I talked about that on my live stream yesterday. That stabbing is crazy. It's great that the coverage is now happening for. I don't understand why there isn't any more coverage of it. That could have very well been my kid, Jason. And that's what bothers me about this. That very well could have been my daughter taking public transportation, coming from work or whatever, and some random, crazy, insane dude pulls out a pocket knife and just stabs her. That angers me to think about this. Yet, where was the coverage on that one? And Jason, that if the color of the perpetrator and victim were swapped, there would have been more of an outrage about it. There would have been more coverage that went to it as well, that would have helped fuel the outrage. You know this. We know this. Everybody knows this. Jason goes on to say the media loves to create a racial divide. See, exactly. Yep. Didn't even know that that was your next comment. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. It creates clicks and comments and engagement, and that makes money in a matrix way. And he said, go to Vietnam. I haven't been to Vietnam, but it is on one of the places that I'd like to go visit for sure. and I'm catching up here. He's giving a comment where I'm talking about lazy people and the economic inequalities, and said that lazy and simply just don't want to do the work because they feel like it's a losing battle. For sure. For sure. And it's okay to feel like it's a losing battle, but you can really only blame yourself at the end of the day if you're not getting ahead. In America, I can't speak for Germany, but in America, opportunity's there. In America, people do come here from other places. They work to get their citizenship. They take advantage of opportunities that they could have to succeed in life by simply putting in the work and outworking everybody else. Sometimes that's the difference. The difference in how things work for you versus how things work for somebody else is simply how bad you want it and how hard you want to put in the work. I would rather give, and y'all know what I'm talking about here. When you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, who do you see outside looking for work at Lowe's and Home Depot? Looking for work. I would rather give money to that person than the homeless bum that's panhandling, holding up a sign, that are at the same street corners every single day. Because what are they doing for the work? What are they doing for the income? I could go out right now and I can see the same people panhandling that's been doing it for the last 4 years. I'd rather go to Home Depot and give my money to the people sitting outside of Home Depot looking for work to be able to put food on the table. Jason said, bruh, you will absolutely love it. And the money exchange is insane. $6,000 will have you living like a millionaire for half a year. Hey, man, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. And he goes on to say, very true. Although I say it's not about how hard you work, but how hard you work to create networks and work to bring people good energy and advice and laugh. It's all about value. What value can you bring to the people around you? At the end of the day, that's what you're measured with. Status kind of helps bring that up. Like your status can help determine how people look at you by if you bring value to other people around you. That's why some people will look at, let me think. There's people like who is a good example of somebody that has money, but they bring up people around them. I don't know. I show Speed or Mr. Beast or Drake. No, not Drake. Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is a social media sensation, and I'm going off on a tangent here for a bit, but I'm gonna circle this back into this last point here. Mr. Beast entertains people on YouTube, but also has employed hundreds of people because of YouTube. Uh, Kev on Stage. Kev on Stage is a comedian. He used to do plays and skits and things, and then he is now morphed into, I'm going to call him a social media success. He's authored 2 books now. I think his second book is about to go on sale. I actually want to try to buy the book and go to a book signing here that's coming up that he's doing. But he has brought value to not just his family, but other people around him with Kev on Stage Studios, his brand. He's employed people, and that's what's helped, his hard work bring value to other people. And I think that when you look at how I think you have to always make your network improve and your net worth improve, because when you look at the rising cost of housing, education, and healthcare, pillars that can help make you successful, if you don't stay with those rising levels, it is going to make it feel like um nothing that you could do can help bring stability for what you're trying to do. And that's unfortunate. Like, I work hard because I don't want to be left behind. I also know that given time, if you make the right investments, which, well, what's the right investments? That's a whole different live stream. You could get to a point to where you don't have to work as hard because your money will work harder for you. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do the things that I can, stay on top of what's going on down in DC with politics and things at the national level and at the state level. I want to stay connected. I want to know what's going on. It's why I follow certain politicians. It's why I follow certain offices, right? Because I want to hear the news that's coming out of these places. Because the news drives decisions. The news drives markets. I want to know that stuff. I want to know it when it's happening, because I'm not there at the floor level immediately when the decision's happening. I'm at the mercy of when information gets released. But if I can stay in front of that information, right, then I won't feel like I'm being left behind because I'm in front of the information. If you go to certain cities, you'll see factories closing, businesses that can't stay open. Tech companies are booming right now. Um, the working class people feel as though the government's not for them, and I don't think that that's true. I think that it depends on again. It depends on a lot of different things. Because while tech is booming, tech is changing things. If Yellow Cab would have gotten into tech early, Uber might not be a thing, or Yellow Cab could have made money by selling their business to Uber, right? I think you have to keep up with the way that things are moving. And you only get inequalities when you don't keep up. I have a shirt. Trains going this way. Either get on and stay in front of it or get left. And I think that too many people are getting left based on their own decisions and not what the government's doing. We got Larry Riggs in the building. Shout out to Larry. Larry said, came up to a man asking for money for food. There was a food stand very close to him. I told him, instead of giving him money, come with me to the food stand and I'll buy you whatever you want from them. And he refused. Hmm. And see, Larry, things like that would make it harder for me the next time to see somebody else, because I wouldn't mind doing that either. I've done that before. I was like, hey man, I don't have money to give you, but if you're thirsty or if you're hungry, come inside the store with me. I'll buy you whatever you want out of here. That's not alcohol, that's not tobacco. And the person said thank you and came in with me, got him a like a sandwich, some water, and a Gatorade was pretty much all that this person wanted. And then I watched them leave that area. So it wasn't like they were paying him now. They could have easily went around, come back, and still did the same thing. But in that moment with that person, it was more about, I'm starving and I don't have money, and they accepted that. But if you come across somebody that did that, then that's easily just going to make me think that the next person is out for the same thing. How is that person going to get ahead in life? How is that person going to trust the government is going to be able to look out for them too? When in my opinion, they're not looking out for themselves. Thanks for sharing that, Larry. Got a couple of comments here, and then I've got to end the live stream to get ready for my 9 to 5. Jason said there's something you have to explain to Castle and her social anxiety. She is a smart person and a hard worker and a good-hearted person, but she will have to be able to market and smooth people in order to be an artist and make money outside the box. She will do great, and I believe and just needs to learn a few techniques in public speaking and have complete confidence in her abilities and skills. You know what? That's a good point, man. And thanks for that. She is, I do have to work on her confidence. She is confident up to a certain point, and it's frustrating. People don't know that she has a speech impediment like I do. People don't believe that I have a speech impediment. It's just that some certain days I have better fluency days. But I'm a covert stutterer. Sometimes I can't get a sentence out without it taking forever just because of my speech impediment. But um Castle's going to have opportunities because of her talent and things. She just told me the other day, last night she got the email that she made her college's acapella group. It's an award-winning acapella group. And I didn't know that until I looked it up. I was like, "Oh, yo, that's big time." That's pretty good. So her talent is going to get her in rooms and things like that for the area that she's in, which she's singing. She could be an entertainer. She's definitely a creative when it comes to, art, but how is she going to be able to market that to stay in front of these perceived inequalities is something that I'm looking to help develop, and I'm monitoring to see that she gets that while she's in college too. Let's see. Worst Gatorade commercial ever. I would laugh my ass off to see a Gatorade commercial based on uh based on my story. Yeah, no, covert stutterer, like that's not a made up word. Um that's a defined term for people that stutter. Like, well, if you go to National Stutterers Association, let me type in covert stutter. There's overt and covert. Overt are people that um overt are the ones that what's the movie? I'm trying to think about the movie where the guy was trying to say taxi. Uh what was it? Was he coming to America? No, it was the one with you're my queen to be. Why am I blanking on the movie right now? Anyway, I might be thinking about the wrong movie, but y'all know when the guy was trying to take taxi, he was like, and then Eddie Murphy's came in, character was like, taxi, because the boxer was a stutterer. That's a overt stutter, meaning you can see the stutter. And a covert stutter is somebody that, hides it. I can appear to be fluent in my speech, but I have different techniques and things that I use to hide my stutter. Sometimes I say words that there's a word that I want to say, but because I can feel myself unable to say it, I replace it with a different word. That's the word covert. I changed my name because of my stutter. People don't know that. For those of y'all that are new to me, hi, my name is King. I was born Aaron Tyler Anthony Smith. A's are one of those letters that I sometimes just can't get out. When I was a airman in the Air Force, I hated having to say my title sometimes because I couldn't say airman. I hated having to introduce myself because I could sometimes not even say my own first name. 2 A's, Aaron. So I changed it to King. So my name is actually King Smith, hence the actual King Smith. So yeah, history of me and my name. Harlem Nights. Thank you. It was Harlem Nights. I'm like, I know what the movie is. Like I can see it. Harlem Nights, one of my favorite movies. When you do live streams, sometimes that recall can get you. Harlem Nights. All right. Let me wrap up because I got to get to my job. Uh let's see. All right. So to wrap up here, the eroding pillars of trust, the media and the 24/7 news cycle, and economic inequalities are what makes things difficult for people and can have them disillusioned about how things are going in politics. My challenge to everybody out there is this: critically think through something to have an understanding of if something is actually out to be against you or not. And I've said this very publicly. If you've never voted or if you don't vote, you can't complain about anything. I would at least, to me, I think it is fair if you voted and you voted against something and you lost, complain all day. Complain all day. At least you made your voice heard. But if you didn't vote, you're not helping public trust. You're not helping change the perception of how of whether or not you can trust politics or not. There are indeed scandals out there. There are indeed election issues that happen. People are easily corruptible. But I do think that there is a way and that things can shift if more people put actions in place and take actions to do things instead of you know uh uh just complaining. But that's me. That's me. Let's see. Jason said, go back and check 8 comments back before I end. So let's see. One, two, three, four, five. The bartending one? Okay. Let me see. Let her spend time bartending at a friend's lounge, but don't be the main bartender, but more like a bar back helping with conversations and keeping drinkers laughing and conversation. And that's not a bad idea. So my brother's a good people person, but he worked as a bartender. And I think you were in that as well. So you understand and know how bartending can um it can get you skill. I think you have to have certain skills to be exceptional at it, but it's not like you can't learn the skills to be good at it. And I agree with you. I don't I don't think it's Castle's forte being we actually had this discussion because I was talking about strengths and weaknesses and how if I was hiring her, I would not put her in a front facing position working with people because it's not her strength, but put her in the back end and she could excel. I even asked her that same question, not leading or guiding the conversation, because I was talking about what were we saying? Somebody had said that I forgot what the main topic was, and this is going off topic from my main live stream, but you know what? That's fine. Um, Somebody was worried about how she would be in the real world, and that's I'm kind of paraphrasing what the main thing was. And I was like, I'm not worried. Like she can thrive in any situation because we were talking about society. Man, I'm trying to rack my brain here on like what the main thing was. But it's like, well, no, like being that I see her, I can identify what her strengths and weaknesses are. Like while that's my child and I want the best for her, I also know that there's certain things I wouldn't put her in. There's certain things I wouldn't put me in. right? Like sales. I am not a good salesperson. You don't want me doing sales in your job. You don't want that. I am not the salesperson. Anyway, but yes, that is a good suggestion, and that could work. Shout out to Opie's in the building. Opie said you are nailing it. Hey man, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you popping in. Jason said that it would absolutely work and help her out a lot. I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with that at all. I actually think that it would. Okay, that is all of the comments because I see we got some bots in the building. Hey, bots are comments. I'll take those. I just won't display them. Tomorrow, I'm going to be live. Tomorrow's live stream is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be short. I've been taking a GLP-1. It is my second week. I've been taking Zepbound. I went to a subreddit and I talked about starting on Zepbound. And yo, that subreddit was really, really positive. I've had to do some things to turn around the weight gain that I have. I have cardiac disease. This is a lot of things that I've shared very publicly. So every Thursday, I'm going to be giving an update on taking Zepbound and what that's doing for me. So for those of y'all tuning in, thank you. Tomorrow is going to be a little bit different because that's going to be my every Thursday live stream. And I want to keep it to just that unless some breaking news decides to, come out or whatever. And it'd be a good idea just to have a forum to be able to talk about it. But that's going to be my Thursday live stream. And then we're going to end Friday on some good news. I don't know what Friday's topic is going to be about because I typically choose what I want to talk about the day before. And it's just based on what's going on in my head. Again, I start my live streams by saying, welcome to the actual King Smith. This is my daily vlog where I talk about whatever the funk I want to talk about. So thank y'all for tuning in. If there's a like button, do me a favor, hit that like button, like the little thing is scrolling down there. And y'all go be great today. Don't just be average. Go be great. Bring value to others. Take care. And I'm out. Peace.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Trumpets blare the golden call. A throne awaits, I rise so tall. Drums like thunder, shake the hall. Royal robe, I wear the weight. Diamonds cut the night, no debate. Heavy is the head, but I'm feeling great. Crown me king, crown me king. Horns will shout, let the kingdom sing. Crown me king, crown me king. Bow to the sound, feel the power I bring. Bring